What did the House spend their time doing today? Now, this is a trick question, because remember, the Republicans control the House. This is the new Tea Party Republican Congress, where after the 2010 elections, fully 1 out of every 3 Republican members in the House is new, elected in 2010 in the great Tea Party election. And the Tea Party breed of Republican, if you listen to the spin, they are supposedly not interested in your old traditional Republican ideas. They are not interested, for example, in social issues and the whole guns, God, and gays thing, right? They are populists. They're libertarian populists at that. If you listen to the spin, they are a new breed of Republican focused purely on economic issues. Well, today, the House, under Republican control, voted on a resolution to affirm that "In God We Trust" is still our national motto. That was the House's business today. 2.5 weeks ago, they took care of not letting the EPA regulate coal ash anymore. Today, they took care of the fact that "In God We Trust" is our national motto. "In God We Trust" was our national motto before today. It has been since the 50s. It is still our national motto. And by a vote of the House today, an official vote by the official business of the U.S. House of Representatives today, it has been affirmed that "In God We Trust" is our national motto. So yeah, America, that motto that we've got it still. Also, like we did before. In case you ever forget that, there is a convenient reminder in your pocket on each coin and all of our paper money. It is on there because it's our motto. And that's not changing. You may remember when the Republican Majority Leader Eric Cantor said this fall that now that they've gotten everything else out of the way, Republicans were going to focus like a laser on jobs. Jobs, jobs, jobs. That was going to be it. Well, today their jobs, jobs, jobs work was to vote to affirm that our national motto exists. "In God We Trust." Still. You will recall that when the Republicans took control of the House after the 2010 elections, part of the way they were going to show their seriousness, to show that these are not your father's Republicans anymore, they're an all-new, laser-focused, Tea Party-inflected Republican Party, one of the things they did is that they changed the House rules. Part of what they changed the House rules to was giving themselves a week's vacation for every 2 weeks that they work, which is awesome. That is really small government at full pay. But they also said there wouldn't be any more frivolous, symbolic, non-binding resolutions anymore in Congress. Only Democrats care about dumb stuff like that. Under John Boehner's leadership, the Republicans would no longer allow any votes on symbolic resolutions expressing appreciation or commending or congratulating or celebrating or recognizing the accomplishments of or celebrating the anniversary of any particular thing in commemorative feel-good resolutions. So after President Obama ordered a successful mission that killed Osama bin Laden on May 1st of this year, House Republicans said they were sticking by their rule. Yeah, Osama bin Laden may be dead, but there'd be no standalone resolution in the House congratulating U.S. troops and the CIA for killing bin Laden. That would be against the rules. That would be frivolous. But today they spent the day on a non-binding resolution affirming that "In God We Trust" is still the national motto. Asked by the Washington Post today whether the "In God We Trust" resolution might also be considered a symbolic thing that's supposedly against their rules now, a spokesman for Eric Cantor declined to comment. Joining us now is John Stanton, who's a reporter for Roll Call. John, thanks very much for joining us tonight. It's nice to have you here.
It's good to be here.
Did we, in fact, affirm that our national motto is "In God We Trust" today? Has that congressional business been accomplished? It
is, in fact, safe, yes. The motto has not changed. They did vote by an overwhelming majority. In fact, they actually had 90-some-odd% of the Democrats vote with them to say that, in fact, we still believe that "In God We Trust" is the national motto. So, well, yes.
Voting no on this would be amazing. In voting no on this, voting on an affirmation that it is our national motto you would be denying that is the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There actually were 9 members that voted against it, including, I believe, Pete Stark, who is, I believe, the only acknowledged atheist in the House. He voted against it.
Wasn't there one Republican who voted against it as well?
I believe so. Yeah. I believe so. But there's always the outlier. But yeah, they got it through without too much of a problem.
This is an embarrassing thing for the House Republicans to be caught spending congressional time doing. No matter how strongly you feel about "In God We Trust," I mean, they've got this jobs, jobs, jobs message. They really want to look like they are working on jobs all the time. But how do they keep letting that image that they're trying to project get punctured by spending time on stuff like this and the triple, quadruple abortion bans and all these other things that they have been doing that are not the jobs agenda?
You know, that's a good question. I think, you know, with the abortion bill, for instance, that they did 2 weeks ago, I guess, you know, they had already promised to do that as part of their pledge to America, and there was an argument that could be made that because it would cut funding to Planned Parenthood, there was a fiscal component to it. So there was an argument to be made there that it was a legitimate part of their agenda. You know, this bill, though, Republicans that I've talked to don't understand why it came up. You know, as you said, Leader Cantor's office has not been commenting on why they decided to bring it up. And, you know, there is sort of a puzzlement of why, because there is no fiscal component to it. It doesn't do anything in particular, and it just sort of it creates this sort of, you know, momentary distraction from the broader agenda that they're trying to push, which is a sort of a deregulatory jobs agenda. So
this seems important to me because it's sort of 2 points of dissonance. One is real work and real work needing to be done, real problems in the country that need addressing, and the question of whether or not our political system can address them, hence the coal ash thing today. But then also the issue about what is the common wisdom about how our politics goes right now, and whether or not the Tea Party movement and the big gains that the Republicans had in 2010 changed the Republican Party at all. I mean, did the Republican freshman class elected after 2010 change Congress very much at all?
Well, the members themselves did not, I don't think. I think the freshmen have sort of gotten a bad rap in a way. People have sort of blamed them for a lot of the problems that have been going on in the House, and they really haven't been the big issue for Mr. Cantor or Mr. Boehner, frankly. They have voted more or less with the party line. But they have created the ability for those that are in the party and have been in the party for a very long time, some of the hardcore conservatives that have been around for a while, they use them as cover, essentially, to do some of these kind of things, like this bill and pushing some of the social riders on spending bills, other things like that. And so, you know, they get blamed for a lot of this, but frankly, they are, by and large, you know, your standard, you know, issue Republicans.
John Stanton, reporter for Roll Call. Thanks again for your time tonight, John. It's always nice to have you here.
Anytime.
I will say that looking into this sort of empirical question of whether or not the 2010 election, the Republicans who were elected in the 2010 election, have changed the Republican Party at all, there's 2 bits of data out there recently. Politico looked at their votes on substantive issues in the House and found that Republicans in general were willing to dissent from the party line, dissent from the party leadership 12.34% of the time. House freshmen, the class of 2010, was willing to dissent from the party leadership 12.5% of the time. No difference whatsoever. John's newspaper, though, Roll Call today, did find that there was one really big difference about the 2010 class in Congress. Between the 2008 Congress and the 2010 Congress, the net worth of Congress increased by nearly 25%. So the one thing that I can empirically tell you is that electing lots and lots of Tea Party Republicans in this last election meant that Congress got a hell of a lot richer. We'll be right back.